Ready to go live in 5, 4, 3, 2. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. In this video, we're looking at this, my possibly favorite iOS app of all time. Definitely the one that I use every day and find super useful, and that is AudioShare. We'll talk about a quick guide to AudioShare's best features. We'll have a deep dive into some functions that I use AudioShare for every day, and then we'll have time at the end for some Q&A. If it's your first time here, my name is Pete. This is Studio Live today. My goal here is to help you create, record, and release your best music. And AudioShare actually helps me do exactly that. So I thought I would share here today all of the things that I use AudioShare for and what it can do, and then hopefully that will help you out. Now, AudioShare is available on the App Store. It is a $3.99 US, $3.99 Great British Pounds, and $5.99 here in Australia, or your local country equivalent. And it is worth that and then some, in my personal opinion. It is. I don't tell you to buy a lot of apps, but this one is one that you should definitely pick up if you are serious, or even a little serious, about your audio production in iOS. So let's go through the features. So there are 4 main functions of AudioShare, and you can see them by the little buttons down the bottom here. I've got my iPhone and iPad up here on the screen today, so you've got all of the information that you'll need here. So if we look at my iPad here, you can see in the bottom left, we've got a recorder. So we've got a voice recorder feature here. We'll show you how we use that shortly. That's very, very cool. We have the ability to copy and paste, which is less useful now in iOS 13 and 14, but was very handy back in the day. We have my favorite feature, which is this one, the Wi-Fi Drive. I'll show you how to use that one in a moment. And then we have this one, which is to import your audio. Again, very important, less important now that we have files and the ability to shift files around easier, but still an easier way to grab a file, throw it here into AudioShare, and get up and running. So that's the 4 main functions, but there is so much more buried under the hood, and that's why I wanted to do a complete live stream on this one so that you can see all of the things that we can do. Let's start with some basic stuff. What about importing a file here into AudioShare? Well, that's pretty simple. All we need to do for that, is that flashing up there? I just want to check and make sure that that's not going to flash up on the screen every time we do something. I'll just bring my notes over here to the side, and that way we don't have to switch apps all the time and you don't get that annoying flashing. So importing a file here into AudioShare is super simple. All we need to do is tap down here on this one, and then go to pick file, or we can even pick an entire folder to bring into AudioShare. So if we tap on pick file, it's going to bring us into our very familiar browse function here in iCloud Drive. And let's just say we wanted to bring in an audio file. Let's go to my Studio Live Today folder, and let's just bring in something random here that we've been playing with. So we'll go with, if I've got nothing downloaded here at the moment. That's super handy, Pete. Well done. Where we've got here music, background, and stings. Let's just find a small file that we can bring in here. So what about our Studio Live Today from 2019? There you go. It's going to download it and it's going to bring it straight in there. So here is a little piece of audio. This is a WAV file, and I've forgotten what this is, but if we play it, there you go. It's that little extended version of my intro that I play here on Studio Live Today. So that's a good one because we're going to be able to show some of the editing tools with that. So bringing things in here is as simple as that. Now you can also it is accessible from files. So the other way to manage this is if we come into our Files app here, then you can see here over under Locations, you can go straight into AudioShare files. So you can shift things directly from your files here into AudioShare, no problem at all. So if you want to do something like that instead, you can go your hardest. I'm using my magic keyboard. I can Alt Tab, or what is it? Command Tab to go back to things. So there is importing files. Now I'm not going to cut. I'm not going to bury the lead here. One of my favorite features is Wi-Fi Drive, and that is this little blue button down here. So if we tap this blue button on, and we tap on Wi-Fi Drive, check this out. It gives this an address on our local network. Now, this isn't over your internet. This is your local network. So it gives us this address, or we can use this, which is airhead3.local. Now, the power of this is that we can now go to any browser and actually go to this address and transfer files. It's super cool, and I'll show you what I mean here. If we bring up Let's just bring up a browser window and we'll bring this on across here. There's our Google. So what we can actually do is we can go to Airhead. There it is, airhead-3.local, and hit enter on this one. And take a look at this. There it is. This is all the files that we were just looking at. So that audio file that we just moved across there, we want to bring this over to our PC. All we need to do is download it. And there you go, it's done. Like, that's how quick it is. And as you'll see here from some of these files, I use this not only for audio, but for video and for a bunch of other things as well, which we'll show you in the deep dive section. So there you go. The Wi-Fi Drive feature is actually kind of ridiculous, because it's and it means you can use this with, across your phone. So if you go to your phone, whether it's Android or iOS or, I don't know, Google, what is the other one? There is no other one. Then you can transfer files between devices super easily. Your laptop, your desktop, anything that's on the same Wi-Fi network, the same network as your iPhone or iPad, you can run it and do your thing there. So if we turn that one back off, and what I do, so we'll show you more about this later, but I've got my phone here. If I turn turn Wi-Fi Drive on my phone like this is what I do. So this is just called Access. Then all I need to do is go to Access on my local drive on another browser, and then I can log straight in. And then if I'm about to go out somewhere and I really got to take a bunch of video or audio files with me, I'll just turn on Wi-Fi Drive, drag them across, dump them in there from wherever they are, my laptop, my desktop, my iPad, and then I'm good to go. I walk out the door and I have all my files there with me. So that is super cool, the Wi-Fi Drive. If you're here live or if you're watching on the replay and you're getting some value from this already, feel free to hit the like button. And if you do have questions, don't worry. We're going to get through all this. We'll then take a pause and a breath, and then we'll continue on with some questions, because I want to show you all the stuff. It may answer some of your questions. Let's talk about moving files around. So yes, we've got the complete control of a file browser here. We can move files to wherever we want them to go. So you'll notice here I've got things like a folder here called Audio Archive. What if this file I just brought in here, I don't want this in my root folder anymore, I want to move it over? Well, no problem. We can do that quite easily. All we need to do is tap here in the top right. We can select either individual or multi. So we can select individual or multi-select. And what you'll notice is when we select these files, down the bottom here, the green button turns into a move button. So if we tap on the move button, we can now decide where we want it to go. We want it to go to that audio archive. We tap on that. We hit the move items here, and boom, it's gone from there. And we come to our audio archive, and it's stored in here with all of our other audio. If we want to bring that back and say we want to bring that and another audio file, let's bring this Songtember final file as well. We can do the same thing. Hit the move button, go back to our library, and just our default drive here, and hit move items. They go from there, and if we come back here, there they are, they're back in here. So it's really simple to move things around within there. And we showed you multi-select in there as well. That was a 2-for-1. I had that as a separate one, but you can multi-select folders and files and move everything seamlessly. This is like what files should have been. I actually use this instead of a file browser. You'll see here I've got video in here as well as other files, text files, audio files, because this is where I store and use and access all of my files. It's super cool. Let's get into some of the actual audio function, because it's fine to bring your audio in here, but we want to actually do some stuff. So you'll notice here that on this audio file, if we hit play, there's a big gap at the front and then a big gap at the end. What if we don't want those gaps? Well, no problem. AudioShare's got you covered. Oh, you'll notice a little bonus tip here. This little yellow button is super useful. That'll bring you back to the very start of your track. So wherever you are in an audio file, hit that one, brings you back to the start. Let's come in here to the tools, because this is where it starts getting fun. You can start doing some cool things. So we'll tap on tools. Now the first thing, the most useful thing, is the trim and fade. So this is going to help us edit out the start and the end of this audio file, and any audio file for that matter. So we'll tap trim and fade. We get these two green handles, so we can just very roughly move these to the locations where we want them. That's pretty cool, yeah, but you're like, Pete, that's not finite enough. I need to have really precise control. Well, no problem, because if we tap and hold, it'll say there, hold still to zoom. And then we can zoom on in and place it better. So if we want to come in again, so now I've got it pretty close to the start. So we wanted this to start right at the beginning. We tap and hold, and here we go. It zooms in. It still hasn't quite got to the, whoop, there it is. Tap and hold. I've gone too far in now. Why is this not working? It's that live thing where you do something live and it doesn't work the way that you want it to. Tap and hold. Come in here. Yes, it's not showing the waveform. Oh no, is this an iOS 14 issue? Normally when you zoom in like that, it gives you a close-up zoomed in version of the WAV file. I've not quite come across this before, so that's a bit weird. So yeah, maybe that's something that we need to report and talk to the developer about. The developer does some amazing stuff here, by the way. To put out an app like this for $4 is yeah, kind of ridiculous. So yeah, very, very, very cool stuff. Let's just go with that for now. So once you're done and you're happy with your trimming, you can see down here, I don't have enough time to go into all the details, but there's fade, nudge, and snap. You can read into these to see what all of these do. You can nudge the start. You can snap it to a tempo even. There's some cool editing functions in here, but the fade, by default, it's 3 milliseconds. Say you want to fade out at the end a bit longer, you can up that to anything up to, I think, like 1,000 milliseconds, which is a second. So we'll just put a bit of a bigger fade out on there. This is great for your mixers and your masters to make sure that they start and finish at the right time. So once we're all happy with that, we hit save and check it out over here. We've now got a trimmed version. Now if we hit play, there you go. We're all good. Now, this file's not going to be a great example here because you can see it's already going right up to 0 dB. But let's see, can we do it? Oh, no, see, that's a master file as well. Let's go into our audio archive and find a file that this might work better for. One. Here's the problem. These are all my master files, so they're already normalized, meaning that they're already going all the way up to 0 dB. So I may not be able to find anything. There we go. Oh, no, that's not even going to work. I'll just have to tell you the theory of this because we don't have a good file that's going to work with it. But if we come into this file here, this trimmed file that we've now done, assuming this wasn't going all the way up to 0 dB and we wanted to, we can now normalize the file. So we'll tap here, we'll go normalize, and then this will actually go through and process it, and it'll do nothing. But if those waveforms were not hitting up to 0 dB and it was, say, a really quiet file, it will expand the volume. Now, it's not going to compress it. It's not going to limit it. It's just going to increase the volume and maximize the volume up to 0 dB. So that's useful as well. File conversion is very, very vital. And this has file conversion covered. So if we tap on tools here, as well as normalize, as well as trim and fade, we have convert. So if we tap on convert, you can see here we've got a full conversion engine here. And the formats we have are WAV, AIF, CAF, MP4, AAC, MP4, ALAC. So the main ones that I use here is WAV file because quite often I just want it to be a WAV file, but why would you want to convert WAV to WAV? Well, let's say you have a stereo file, but everything's on the left and you want to make it mono, you can actually convert to mono. So that's really common if you've got something like an audio interface that you've recorded the microphone on, but say you had your app could only record stereo, it'll record your mic on the left. Even better than that, check out this. We've got our mono source. So if we have something recorded just on the left, we can come into AudioShare, set it to mono, set the source to left, and it will put that same left. It'll copy the left signal onto the right. So you'll actually get a proper full signal going through there as mono. Bit depth is super important too because we can control 16, 24, and 32 bit. So this is handy if you say buy a library of samples or loops and they're 32 bit. You can pull your sample or your loop into AudioShare, convert it to 24 bit, and then you're good to go. The same with your sample rate. Sometimes maybe you have samples that are 48 kilohertz. You try to bring them into your GarageBand track, which is at 44 kilohertz, and they won't work. So you can actually convert your bit rate and your sample rate. Obviously, the other handy thing here is that you can convert to M4A. So if you want a smaller file, I use this for my podcast, which I'll show you an example in the deep dive section, but you can actually convert it to M4A, which is Apple's compressed format. No MP3 conversion in here. If you want to convert to MP3, Voice Record Pro 7 is the app that you can use to do that. And I've got a complete video that you can find. I'll try to remember to link it in the description, but you can find that if you search Pete Johns Convert MP3 app. You'll find a complete version of that app. Let's just say for now we want this to be a stereo M4A. We want the mix, okay, stereo now, we don't need to do the mix. Then you can decide your bit rate here. We'll go the best quality, 320, 44 kilohertz, hit save, and it's going to convert that file. So now you can see we have our original file here. We then trimmed it down. We then normalized it, which did virtually nothing, and then we converted it to M4A. So now we've got this file compressed, ready to send, to share, to upload, to do whatever we want to do with it. And if we play, it's sitting there, it's ready to go. So that's pretty darn cool, yeah. But what can we now do with it? Well, we can export it. and your export options are down the bottom here. You've got 4 different ways to export here in AudioShare. We can export to SoundCloud, which I don't think I've ever used. I will just go to SoundCloud and upload this file. I've had mixed results with this one, but if you want to try that one, you tap that one, you sign into SoundCloud, you can share it to SoundCloud. You can email it, so you can drop straight into your email, and it'll attach it. And because it's an M4A, that'll be okay because it won't be a big file. We'll delete that draft. We don't need to send it. You can copy it here, so you can just copy it to general pasteboard, or you can copy using Audio Copy 3. Again, I don't use that much these days because iOS has better file management, or what I tend to use is this button here to share. So this is your general standard share sheet where you can just share it out to wherever you want. And we can save to files, we can share using different apps, we can send it. And this is cool because you can see you want to send it to iMovie, or you want to convert to MP3, you can send straight to Voice Record 7. Anywhere you want to go. Basically anywhere that accepts audio. LumaFusion, you can send it straight into LumaFusion if you're doing video editing using this audio file. So there's heaps of sharing options to go in there. So let's go back to our list. Now, to manage your files in here, so say I've done all this and I'm like, oh, I need a new folder to store this. I don't want all this noise sitting in my default folder. Down the bottom here, that's what this is all about. So we tap on the plus button here, we go add folder, and we can actually create a new folder. So say we wanted to call this Studio Live Today. As our folder, hit enter. There you go. It's created a Studio Live Today folder. To move these files in there, we use the method we showed before. We tap the multi-select. We go, we want to move this one, this one, this one, and this one. We want to get these all out of the way. We hit the green move button down the bottom here. We say Studio Live Today, move items here, and boom, it's cleaned up. And we have everything here in that one separate folder. So that's super duper handy. The other things, now you're like, Pete, there's this audio recorder here. You haven't even touched it. I know, it's pretty cool. And in fact, let's use the audio recorder over here on the iPhone because this is where I use it most of the time. It's super handy for wherever you need to record audio on the go. Found sounds, it's great for that if you're just out and about and you're like, oh, that train sound that I'm hearing right now is cool. I want to record those birds. If you heard my song For the Birds, I actually recorded that using AudioShare on my iPhone. I just hit the record button down at the bottom left. You get this, you can see. Here's why it's so cool. You've got a proper audio monitoring there, so you can see how much sound is coming through. You can dial in over on the left there. You can dial in your level. So as we come down, you can see there that it's not bringing anything through. We go up a little bit. So if you've got a really loud sound, even if you're just using the onboard mic of your phone, you can actually set it there. You've even got plugins on this thing. How ridiculous is that? Over here on the left, we can actually add in audio unit plugins. So you could use this on the fly to process your audio. That's kind of ridiculous. I've never really used that. I tend to just record clean audio into here. But yeah, you can set the dB gain over there. You can monitor your audio. I won't tap it on here, but in the bottom left, you can see you've got monitor audio on or off. And if you monitor your audio, it means it'll play it back. So that's great if you're wearing headphones and you want to hear what you're actually recording. Make sure that that sound isn't clipping. Make sure you're getting the best quality sound coming through. We've then got our settings in the top right here. This is very similar to the settings we had before. So I would recommend WAV file. Now, I'd say mono if you're doing most things, but your iPhones do actually have stereo mics. So you may want to try stereo, but say you just want a voiceover, you want mono, you want 24-bit audio, 44 kilohertz, normalize. So you can auto normalize or you can turn it off. We'll turn it off there and then open the recording when it's finished on there. So they're the main settings for recording. We'll come out of there. So let's just hit record here and record a quick test, shall we? This is AudioShare. It is awesome. You want to download it. Hashtag not sponsored. Right. Hit the stop button. There it is. So this will be a good test because we can show the normalization function here as well. In fact, what we can do is let's send this over. So we've got this on our iPhone. Let's send this over to my iPad because what we can do is show the power of the Wi-Fi Drive function here. Because if we turn Wi-Fi Drive on this one, what we can actually do is come to a Safari window over here. If we just find Safari, where are you, Safari? S-A-F-A. Or just come into, just go here for a second in case I have anything that I shouldn't have open in Safari. No, it's all looking good. It's just my YouTube channel. Just need to make sure I'm not showing anything I can't. Let's come back over to here. And now if we just go to XS, and that's all we need to do is just put XS in there. So because it's on my local, look at that. It's right there. So we can actually just get the access to that recorded audio. We can download it directly here into Safari. No problem. Download. It's going to open up our download manager. There it is in our files. We can tap that one to open it up. And now we can actually send it from here straight to AudioShare. Like, how quick was that? Connecting up this to that, our iPad to our iPhone, and then we can send this file. And now, of course, because we're live, I'm tapping on AudioShare and nothing's happening. Because it just wants to prove that things don't work exactly as you plan sometimes, Pete. No problem. We have a solution. Let's use our different method here. So this is the good part, is that we can then just go into files. We can go into our downloads here, and there is that recorded audio there as well. So again, we'll just select it here. In fact, this is how I can show you how you can use your Files app to do this. If we move it from here, you'll notice that we have our AudioShare location as a separate location here. So there's our AudioShare files location. We'll simply copy it to there. And now when we go to AudioShare, we will have recorded audio. Let's take a listen to that audio that we recorded on a completely separate device and then transferred over to here. We'll hit play. This is AudioShare. It is awesome. You want to download it. Hashtag not sponsored. Right. There we go. Now we can show how cool the normalize function is here, because say we did want to normalize that up to use it in something. We hit the normalize button. It's going to create a copy, and there you go. We've got normalized audio. This is AudioShare. It is awesome. You want to download it. Hashtag not sponsored. So that's cool. And then we can do the same things. We could do all of our conversions. We can do our trimming and fading just like we did before. So we don't want that last bit in there. We just want it to go, we just want that part. And then we don't want that all right at the end. So yeah, we can just save that in. It just makes all of the little jobs of audio on your iPhone and iPad super simple, as you can see. And I know many of you already use it, but hopefully you're seeing some of the next level power features and functions you have of AudioShare here on your iPhone and iPad. The one final thing, we've talked about file management before, but yeah, you do want to make sure you're deleting stuff as you go along. So I don't really want this in here. So I'm just going to slide to the left like that and hit the trash button. Do it again for this one. Slide. It's hard with the mouse to slide. Slide to the left and hit trash. Slide to the left, hit trash. Don't want any of these here. And then when you delete things, they'll actually go into your trash folder. So if you tap on trash here, from time to time, what you want to do is come in here and empty this. It will keep it there and it kind of manages it for you. But if I'm running out of space, because I use a lot of audio and video in here, I'll come into trash. I will tap on the select in the top right here, multi-select. I'm just going to turn off Wi-Fi Drive there. So just making it slower. We'll do that. We'll hit all down the bottom here, and then both. And what this is going to do is select all the files and folders of things that I've deleted. If I'm comfortable that I want to get rid of them, I just hit the trash icon in the bottom left. I trash them. There you are, they're gone. So if you're finding that you're using storage and you want to get some space back, that's a way that you can do it. And this does store it on your device, so it doesn't store on iCloud Drive. If you do want to make sure you have stuff backed up, you'll need to move it over. So you move it to your iCloud Drive. The one final thing I'll say is you'll notice here that we've got WAV files, we've got PNG files, we've got text files, we've got video files. You can even have entire, like if we go over here to my, where is it? No, it's not here. I had it before. Oh, there it is, Selfish Aware Masters. You can actually put your, no, it's not that one. You can actually put your .ban files in here. Is it in the EP? Yeah, there it is. So you can see here we can store our .ban files in here as well. Now you can't transfer those out of here, but it's a good place to just store a backup of your .ban file, because you can see here that the way iOS uses .ban files is that they're actually folders. So you can actually come in here and see the individual media components. So we can come in here and take a listen to just little parts of tracks. So that's like one of the tracks in there. Come to my vocals, it'll be this one, and we can trying to learn. And I'm running. So that's a pretty cool way to back things up and also to have a sticky beak into what's inside your GarageBand projects, yeah? Pretty handy there. So there you go. That is 12 of the most common things that I do and the ways to get things done here in AudioShare. If you have questions and you're here live, pop question in front and drop it in the chat. If you are watching on the replay, leave me a comment on this video and then we'll be able to check that out. So, that was a lot. Whew. Hopefully you found that useful. Like I said, if you did, yeah, hit the like button if you got value out of this one. If you have questions like Auntie G, then you can ask them here. So let's get into these questions. If you have asked a question already, you might have to re-ask it because we'll jump into these. So Auntie G says, I've tried that trimming on the phone, but it's almost impossible. I'm probably doing it wrong. Yeah, to be honest, I tend to push it back out to GarageBand. You will get better control in GarageBand. So if you get your final WAV file and send it out to GarageBand, that's where I tend to do my trimming, because you're right. If I come back here, especially on the phone, if I bring up over here, so here we are on the phone. So I come into this recorded audio again that we were just playing around with. So we're looking over here on the right. I know we've got so many things going on here, but you tap Tools in the top right. We tap a Trim and Fade, and then you tap on your handle. Let's see if it does the same thing on this one. See, look, it was just the iPad. It's actually giving you that zoomed in view. So this is actually going to work a little bit better, because you can see here, if we tap right on there and hold, if you've got chunky fingers like mine, see how you can really identify the very start of the waveform. So I use this for samples and loops and things, but if we come there, we can go right to the start of that with the audio starting, release, and then do the same at the end. So grab it, go right to the end of the waveform that we want to keep in there, and see how you can just really dial in and see where the audio is going. Release. And then if we hit save on that one, yeah, that's going to work. That's worked a lot better, right? And then if we hit play, it's going to come through the speaker here, but if we hit play. This is AudioShare. It is awesome. You want to download it. Hashtag not sponsored. So yeah, so hopefully that's going to help out with a few of those tips. But yeah, definitely use the hold down option, and then it'll zoom in and then just find the start and the end of your audio. And of course, if you are doing a master, you'll want to set your fade as well. So you may want your fade out to be a few more milliseconds, just in case you don't quite get the end of that. You just want your sound to sort of come off there at the end of your master. So hopefully that helps you out, Arnie G. Question. If I shop for an app on my iPhone, will it be available on my iPad? I'm guessing yes. I don't always have my iPad. Yes. So very good question and very good point that yes, if you purchase AudioShare, so you can see here, I've got it on my iPad Pro, which is this one over here on the left where the mouse is, and I've got it on my iPhone XS. It's a universal app, meaning you download it once. When you then go to the App Store on your other device, it will be there and have the little cloud icon, and you can jump in and download it there. So yes, you can use it across, and it's also family compatible. So when if I grab my wife or my daughter's iPhones or iPads, then yeah, they can have AudioShare on there as well. And yeah, my daughters, both of them are getting into video editing and other things as well. So it's a handy app for them to have over there as well. Redacted says, can you check the super chatted question? I can. So thank you for the super chat. Let me just see if we can come all the way back up here and show the super chat. There you go. Thank you, Redacted, for your support. Is there a way to link my phone to my iPad? My phone to my iPad on GarageBand. Example, I want to play piano on my iPad while I use the iPhone as the drum pad on the same project. Link my iPhone to my iPad on GarageBand, play the piano on my iPad while I use the iPhone as a drum pad on the same project. So short answer is yes. What you're really looking to do there is to start using you need an audio interface of some sort. So anything that you link up using things like the Jam Session that's going to be Bluetooth or wireless is not going to be able to work, because if you're trying to use both of them at once, so say I had my iPad and my iPhone at once, it's just not going to sync up. You're not going to get, with audio, you need it to be right in sync. So what I've done in the past, so I use the Zoom live track, and at the moment, if I hit play over here on my iPad, let's just get an audio file here, shall we? Whoop, that's a zip file. No, we want an audio file. We'll come here to my masters. So if I grab this audio, so this is my song For the Birds. So if we hit play, so that audio is actually coming out of my iPad and going into a stereo channel on my mixer. So you can use the same sort of concept with that to actually record onto another device. So if you had, say, your iPhone, if that's what you wanted to use, and an iPad, the only problem there is if you're using them both as instruments, you almost need a third device to be the actual recording device, if that makes sense. So even if you had a mixer, excuse me, I need to sneeze. No, I don't. Yes, I do. No. It's going to come in a sec. If you have a mixer or a multi-channel audio interface, then you can bring in your iPad onto one channel, your iPhone onto another channel, and then record them both at the same time. So you're basically, in that stage, you're using your iPhone or your iPad as an instrument. So that's kind of the way that I approach things, which is using a mixer or a multi-channel audio interface. I don't believe that there's an effective way that you can do what you're saying. So, say playing on your iPhone, playing on your iPad, recording both of those sounds on one or the other device at the same time without pushing out into some sort of mixer or audio interface. But if anyone here, this is the beauty part of the Studio Live Today community, if anyone here has any ideas about that, then please drop them in the comments of this one, and maybe we can tackle that again on Home Studio Q&A on the weekend. Maybe shoot me an email redacted just to remind me, and we'll throw it out there again on Home Studio Q&A. All right. Where do we get to with questions? Let's bring it on down. I think we've covered, yes, so we've covered that one and that one. A follow-up to that one, and do I need to plug my iPhone and iPad with the powered hub or do something else? Also, if it's not possible, can I connect multiple iOS devices to Ableton Link or together for different instruments? Yeah, so I think in terms of that, what I've done and what I always use is a multi-channel audio interface or mixer. I don't know if there's a digital way to link them. I don't use Ableton, so I'm not super sure on that one. So maybe we'll get to work. Arnie G says, seems to work when you do it. Just one of those things. Yeah, so just experiment with it and see if it works. That's with your audio trimming and fading. A question from Timothy. If I delete a file from my iPad and it's backed up in the iCloud, will it delete from the iCloud as well? Good question. Yes. So here's the limitation with iCloud and why I don't love it. I use it, but I don't love it. And that is that anything that's here in your iCloud drive, it's stored in both your device and in the drive. Now, if you run out of room on your device and you go, oh, well, I'll just go delete it, it's not going to work because it's going to delete it from both places. And that's a pain in the butt. So notice here that what it will do is automatically offload. So you'll notice here that some of these files here on my iCloud drive have the little cloud icon, which means they're saved in the cloud, but they're not on my device. Some don't have that. Now, in a perfect world, what you'd be able to do is say, I didn't have room for this No Apologies final mix. I should be able to say, offload this one, manually offload it. And look, if you can do this, someone's watching this and they're screaming saying, Pete, you can do that. Let me know. But in my experience, if you delete this, so if we tap and hold, if you delete it, it's going to go. It's going to go completely from both your iCloud drive, the backup storage that Apple has in the cloud, and your device storage. What I suggest is use the compress. And this is why I use Google Drive and Dropbox a lot, as well as iCloud Drive. Because if I've got things on iCloud Drive, it doesn't give me that ability to manage them. But what you can do is, say you've got something that you don't have space for on your drive, you want to store a backup of it, I would tap and hold it and compress it, and then send that over. In fact, let's just do a quick test of this while we're here. You can't see that. Let me just remove your question for a sec there, Timothy. So there you go. Down the bottom here, if we compress it, what that's going to do is zip it up. So we've got this no apologies final mix.zip. And then all you need to do then is just find it. You can see over here on the side, I've got Google Drive and Dropbox. All we now need to do is move that into my Google Drive or Dropbox location, that zip file, and then we can delete that final mix, or you could just delete it from here now. So if we delete that, that's going to go from both my drive here, my iPad, as well as from the iCloud drive. But we can back it up by just copying that zip file somewhere else. So not a perfect solution, not a perfect system by any stretch, but yeah, that's some tips that are going to help it work. We've got David says, I've got a cool trick for fades in AudioShare, double and triple fades. Do a 10-second, do 10-second, the 5-second, and the 2-second. Creates a nice exponential fade out. What a cool tip. So yeah, what David's talking about there is, if we jump back over to AudioShare, is that when you are fading out a track, we'll just come back to these test tracks we're using. In here, if you are fading out a track at the end of something like this, you can do it a bunch of times. So what David's saying is, if you want to get a nice sort of gradual fade and have more control over your fade, you can come in here and do your trim and fade. And then if you do it, the fade out 10 milliseconds the first time, or 10 seconds even, and then 5 seconds, then 2 seconds, it will give you an incremental. It'll just sort of give you a different way of bringing it down. So there you go. I've never thought of doing that. Never thought of actually layering up your fades. I've layered up EQs and compressors before, never layered up fades here in AudioShare. So what a good and cool tip. Thank you for that. Where are we at? We're doing well. Hello to Benny. Good to have you here on the stream. And yeah, no problems. Hopefully, we can get you, get you supported with that one. Definitely jump over to the Create, Record, Release Facebook group because there's a lot of folks there that share a bunch of different ways. And if you're not already a member of the Create, Record, Release group, I highly recommend it. Jump on over there. Tom Rochelle's also got a tip here. You could experiment with Logic Remote. I know that does what you want between GB iOS and GB Mac. I don't think it works with two iOS devices, but worth a try. Yeah, experiment and try some things. So yeah, if you're not a member of that, createrecordrelease.com is where you can go to check that out. So that is it for the basic tips. If you're just joining us here, we've gone through 12 different things you can do and how to do them. And we've showed them here on the iPad and on the iPhone. That's why we've got the two screens displayed here. So we've gone through everything that AudioShare can do. It's a $3.99, £3.99, $5.99 Australian app. Check it out in the App Store or the link down in the description. They are not sponsoring this video, but they're an app that I've used for many, many years and I use on the daily. So let's continue on here because I've got some deep dive stuff that I've pre-prepared here. Because that's all cool for audio, yeah, but what about your video? So I actually use AudioShare for video, and I'll explain how. Because I do a lot of, obviously, shows like this, where I do a live stream, and then I record the stream, and then I might pull out little chunks and make them clips of video. AudioShare makes that super simple. I use AudioShare and LumaFusion to bring this all together. So I thought I would show a little live demo of how I get this done because it's a super handy way to manage your files. Now, we already showed you before how we can use the Wi-Fi Drive function on here. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to turn on Wi-Fi Drive here, but then we're going to jump over to my YouTube channel. Now, I'm just going to make sure that there's nothing showing here that I can't show before we go there. I think this is cool. Yes, there's nothing there that looks untoward. So if we jump back over to my screen share, this is all of the recent shows that I've done. Now, you may be aware that I do a weekly show called GarageBand Weekly, but I also do a weekly show called Home Studio Q&A. And what I actually do is I turn that into a podcast. So this is where this comes in super handy because what I can do, I can download the video file, bring it on in to AudioShare, extract the audio, convert it to an M4A, and upload it to my podcasting app all within the space of about 5 minutes. I'm going to show you how right now. So all I need to do to start with is download this one. So if I click the three dots here on YouTube, I can download. And what that's going to do is down in the bottom left here in a moment, there you go, it'll download this file. So while that is downloading, let's get ourselves set up to actually be able to access that one. So what we'll do, we'll come back over here. There you go. We've got the Wi-Fi drive on here ready to go. So once this is downloaded, that means that all I need to do is log in using a browser, which we'll show you in a moment, and then actually transfer this file across. And then we can do all of our editing to either the video or the audio. And I'm going to show you both because it's super cool. And if you do anything with video on different multiple devices, this is going to change your world. I'm overselling it a bit there, aren't I? Let me just come over to this one while I check out my file. Okay, that is downloaded now. I'm just going to bring up the folder where that file is so that we can actually view it here. Righty, so let's come back over here. So here you go. We've got the file downloaded there. There it is, an MP4 video file. If we click over here, we've now got that AudioShare folder that we were showing before. And if we bring up the downloads folder, there you go. Now, to bring a file in here, we didn't really show this before. We showed how to download a file directly from here. It's drag and drop. It's as simple as that. So if we just grab this one here on my PC, drag it and drop it, check out what happens there. It's copying it across. It's copying. Look how fast that is. That's like how big is that? That's a 311 megabyte file, and it took about 4 seconds on my Wi-Fi because it's using your local Wi-Fi network. If we jump back over here to my iPad, what you'll notice is that it's there. Turn off Wi-Fi Drive, and there it is. So there's the MP4 file. Now, it's a video file at the moment, right? Which is why we don't have a play button. So we can't play it directly from here. Well, we can. We can actually play just the audio. But because it's not identifying it as a video file, it'll only be the audio. But no problem. We got the tools here to convert this. We can do this, right? So there is my file. I could just use it like this. I could just convert it. But what I can do is, say I want to normalize it first, we tap the tools in the top right, we hit the normalize button. So this is the exact process I follow to release my podcast, is I bring it into AudioShare. You saw how quick that was. The show's over. I bring it into AudioShare. I normalize the volume first and foremost, just to bring it up to 0 dB. I could do a bunch of other stuff. I could master it. I could mix it. I could BQ it. I could change a bunch of things. I tend to not bother, to be perfectly honest, not because I don't care about you, but because I go to a decent amount of trouble to get decent quality audio going in. This is why I say, like Joe Gilder says, get it right at the source. So that's going to normalize. That is done. Now, because it's it's like a 40-minute podcast, it took a little bit of time. But there you can see it's beefed up that WAV file a little bit to make sure that it's hitting up to 0 dB. Now what I can do is I can use my conversion tool, hit the tools button, hit convert, and we can convert this sucker. So this is what I'll use. I'll use M4A, stereo, 320, 44, hit save. You can see it's all set in there because this is what I do every week when I do the podcast. And that's going to convert it into an M4A file. And you'll see that once it's converted, then it's going to be even better because we're going to be able to use it as an audio file. And then it just sits here in my files and I can just access it from my files option. So I was going to move over there. In fact, I'll do it over here on my phone instead. So if we go to, we'll go to the files menu on my phone, like so, you can see here that if you're in AudioShare files here, just in your files app here, everything's here. So if we go to video import, home studio Q&A, you can see here are some ones, here's some I prepared earlier on my phone, because these are the ones that I've actually done. And then I go straight to my Anchor app and upload directly from this folder, because this is an accessible folder in files. You got iCloud Drive on my iPhone and AudioShare files. So it's accessible. We can get to those files and we're good to go. All right, we're done over here. I like this multitasking. I can do two things at once. Oh, except I turned off my phone. And now it's asking me to help with things. And now it's sending me to the cricket. All right, we'll pop that over there for now. Let's come back over to this one. There you go. Now you can see over here on the left, it's actually got a play button, because it's the audio version of this file. That is super cool. So now we can use this audio file to send it straight over to our podcast, which is super awesome. I did mention we can do video stuff with this as well. So let's show you what I do with video. So say I've got a clip of video in this version, the MP4 version that I have down here, and I actually want to clip this out and use it in LumaFusion to create another video. Well, no problem. Let's go over to LumaFusion. We'll go to my menu here. We will go to LUMA. If you don't know about LumaFusion, by the way, it's an outstanding video editor for iOS. I use it. If you've seen a video here on the channel, you've seen LumaFusion in action because I use it. Here you go. In fact, you can see there is a recent video that I've created here in LumaFusion. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back out here. Now I have my studio, do I have it in here? Studio Live today, here we go. So this is my template. So if we come in here to my template, this is what I have. So there you go, there's my intro and there's my my thing there. In fact, let's just, what I recommend here is to just duplicate this. So create another copy, boom. And then this will be our new video. So we'll just call it new video, F new video, F new video dash. Does anyone else ever do that? Just leave it how it is. So if we come in here to this video, what we can now do is actually bring in the audio files that we actually want here. Now I use this on my phone all the time, so everything's laid out a bit differently. So it's going to be a wee bit clunky here. So let's see if we can actually work this out, how to bring in. No, that's to add a clip. I'm gonna have to go. I might even have to go over to my iPhone because I honestly edit everything on my iPhone. Is it this one here? Yeah, here we go. No, share. I know my LumaFusion editing friends are yelling at me saying, it's super simple, it's right there, Pete, you can do it. No, I don't have the time, and I'm not gonna put you through me stumbling around to try and find where we actually add it. So let's jump over here to my phone because this is where I live. I live on my phone and I do this all the time. So you're gonna have to look over on the little screen on your right. We're gonna open up LumaFusion again over here. And here we go. So there's, that's a secret video. Ooh, I nearly showed you something that you shouldn't see. That's the premiere of Gary Hubb's new song that's coming out this weekend. Oh, I know, nearly broke it. So let's come here. We'll hit the plus button. We'll go into this new one. You can see how much quicker I am with this one. So here you go. So now you got the file. You know what? It's right there in front of me. It's right here. I'm just so used to having on this one to go into the separate section down the bottom there, that on this one, it's actually right there in front of me. So that's a little bit ridiculous, Pete. So what we could do here though, now that we know that, we'll come back over here and continue on this one. So if we go to import media sources, we go to our files, and then we come here to AudioShare. We can actually bring this. So this is that file that we brought in here, yeah? This audio interfaces one. We can tap on that one, and it's going to download it, and there it is. So we can just grab this file, put it straight here into our timeline here, and there you go. We've got it here in AudioShare. So if I want to come in here and clip out a part of this, so say this was a really interesting question that I wanted, and I wanted to do a separate video of just this question, I can come in here and clip it out, and then there's, "Hello sir, when playing with a MIDI keyboard, how can I change key transpose?" So yeah, we can come in here, we can edit it, and we can use that video. So that's from that download we did like less than 10 minutes ago. We downloaded it on my PC. We sent it across here to the iPad in AudioShare. We brought it into LumaFusion. And now, despite the fact that Pete's a bit simple and forgot that he's imported files with this giant window in the top corner, then yeah, we're good to go. Yeah, just in my defense, if you look over here on the right, this is how we do it here in the iPhone, which is actually much, much harder, but it's what I'm used to doing. So yeah, again, we won't show those secret videos that are about to come out. But there's LumaFusion. Let's jump back over to AudioShare because that's what we're talking about in this one. And we'll jump back to AudioShare here on the iPad. Let's jump in and just see what else we had. So yeah, we've kind of talked about this as well. So that's video. We've kind of talked about audio and mastering audio. But yeah, it's pretty handy for doing your masters. So you would have seen in here that I have all of my mastered WAV files in here. It's good for a couple of reasons with mastering because you can do that trimming. And I won't show that again. We've showed that a bunch of times. You can do your trimming and fading. You can convert it if you need to convert it. So for Amuse, for instance, which is a distributor, they require 16-bit audio. So if I had this overly mastered file of the tree and I wanted to master it, I wanted to convert it, I could come in here and convert this to a 16-bit file or a M4A if I wanted to, but say I want it to be WAV. If I wanted it mono for some reason, don't know why, but say I did, then we can change all of that. We can convert it all within here, and that makes it super handy for your mastering and even just to eyeball it and visualize it. So this was my 2018 phase where I got a little bit Metallica Foo Fighters on us, where I tried to master things too heavy. And you can see here, these are heavier masters than I do these days. Summer's not bad. Yeah, see, that's Sin. That was a little bit intense. So you can see here, yeah, some of my masters were just a little bit insane. They're all flat tops. They're all like 1980s flat top hairstyles. But yeah, you can actually visualize and see, hey, did I pump that up too much? Yes, you want to use your ears for mixing and mastering, but sometimes getting a visual of what you master, like see that, like, I mean, it sounds okay. But it's probably just over limited, right? If I'm doing this today, I bring that down about 2 or 3 dB and remove the flat top of that. So they're the sort of things that you can do here with your mixing in AudioShare. What else did I have here? Storing and managing files. Yeah, this is very related because Timothy's just got a question here. So Timothy says, so if I put AudioShare on my iPad, I can organize audio and video all in one app. You 100% can, and this is why I love it, because this is exactly what I do. Is you'll notice here that on my iPad here, I've got this audio archive section. So these are all the things that I've kind of been working on recently that I just want to have somewhere handy to be able to access. I've got my EP for Mayhem. So this has all the .bam projects and all the final zipped up files of those .bam projects that I can access there. I've got New Beginning here, which is just the final mix and master of my newest song, New Beginning. All the masters of all of my songs for Selfish Aware, my album, including my album artwork. So you can't view them in here, but you can store them in the same file. So the PNG of the album artwork, even got a text file. I didn't show you the text option, but that you can create notes. So you can add a little notes text file here, which is kind of handy if you want some notes to yourself, like me. Do not remove. In case I come in here and I'm like, oh, I should remove this. It's like, no, don't do it, Pete. And then like my video import. So this is where I just store. This is that placeholder where I store in. So you can see I've got one of my recent happy hour videos in there. I've got a video here for a while ago, episode 44 of Home Studio Q&A. So yeah, I need to do some cleaning out here. And Apple Keynote. So yeah, that was a live show I did about the Apple Keynote predictions. So there you go. Let's just see what I was saying. They've already said the iPhones are going to be delayed. And they were. Do Nostrapitus. So yeah, that was way back in, when was that? 15th of September. There you go. I knew stuff, man, and things. So yeah, it's where I store everything, and you can even search within here. So if I'm like, oh, didn't I have a song called New Beginning? Yeah, there it is. Didn't I have a song called New Day somewhere in here? New Day. Or maybe I didn't. But yeah, you can search within there with the search box as well. So yeah, it's a very, very cool function and way to manage all of your audio and video files. So a question here, I might have covered this, but I joined kind of late, but I wanted to ask, how do you share audio share between devices? I want to be able to access whatever I upload from my iPad to my iPhone when I'm on the go. This is probably the one biggest drawback, is that it uses local storage. And I don't quote me on it, and if someone wants to correct me, let me know. I don't believe there is a way to easily have it replicated on your two devices. I would love it too, but because it stores it on the local storage, and I don't think that there's a way to send it to iCloud Drive, I don't think you can do it. And it's a pain in the butt for me because I have to do the same sort of thing. I'm constantly transferring files between one device and another. And look, it's not super difficult, but say instead of editing this one, the one that I just brought in here, this MP4 file, instead of editing this, say I wanted to do it on my phone, it's not actually that hard because I can airdrop it. So if I send it here, I can actually airdrop it to my other device. So I just need to turn off. Sometimes when I do the airdrop, it brings up random people's phones and things. So I'm just making sure. No, that's cool. It's just brought up my phone. So if we come back to here, we can airdrop to XS, which is this device. But you can see there, it's nowhere near as fast as the Wi-Fi drive. So it takes, because it's Bluetooth as opposed to Wi-Fi, it takes a significantly larger amount of time. So it does make it a bit more annoying. I tend to kind of use my PC as the hub and then use that Wi-Fi drive to send the files around. Or, as I showed you before, you can go back to earlier in the video, if you log into Safari on one of your devices and AudioShare on the other, you can more easily send between the two. But yeah, as you can see, that is taking a long time to actually pop up. And then when it pops up, yeah, it's going to put it here in my, oh, that was weird. It's now playing it. It put it straight, because it's a video file, it put it straight into my, phone, my videos, my photo library. That was a bit strange. So yeah, you can see slightly unintended consequences of that one there, which again is why I tend to use the AudioShare Wi-Fi drive for most of my file sharing. But yeah, if someone can solve for that, that would kind of take my workflow to the next level, because I would be able to then have everything all on the one device. Alrighty, thank you, Laurie, for the kind words. Appreciate that. Much love and health to you as well. I do appreciate you, and I do appreciate everyone. CCS says, I want to support you. How? Well, that's a good segue into the final part of this. So if you do want to support me, there's a few ways that you can do that. You can clearly watch the videos here, hit the like button, share these videos with other folks who you think might get value out of them, and subscribe to the channel. You can also head over to studiolivetoday.com. There you'll find my gear guide. So if you're ever in the market for new gear, if you buy gear from the gear guide, they're affiliate links. They break off a chunk and they send them my way. Let's just see if we've got the banner there. There you go, studiolivetoday.com/gear that you can go to. You can also join me on Patreon. So if you want to make a regular monthly contribution, as little as $1 per month, you get some additional videos, some early access, and more access to me. So if you have more of those curly questions, you can throw them to me on Patreon if you join us over there. And if you just want to make a donation, you can as well. There's links down in the description to PayPal if you want to make a donation that way. You can super chat here on the live shows as well. But to be honest, the number one way you can support me is to continue coming along to these shows, continue asking questions, keep creating, recording, and releasing music. That is what I'm here for. That is my number one goal, and continues to be my number one goal here on the channel. That is going to do it for this one. What I encourage you to do from here is that Jade Starr, who's a moderator and supporter of this channel, is about to interview Gary Hubbs, who is a mobile home studio creator, creates some ridiculously good metal songs in GarageBand, and he's going to be on the channel as well. If you check the details of the channel and follow me over at studiolivetoday.com or on Facebook or on Twitter or on any of the places, they're all down in the description. You'll find information about that. But I'm premiering Gary's brand new song, a cover of the Vanilla Ice classic, Ice Ice Baby, It is epic. You're not going to want to miss that. So that's coming up Saturday afternoon if you're in the US and Canada, Sunday morning for folks here in Australia. So don't miss that one. But if you want to find out a little bit more about Gary and his music, jump over to Jade Star and her channel right now because they are in the green room, warming up, getting ready to chat about all things GarageBand, iPhone recording, home studio, and all that jazz. So join them over there. Thank you everyone for being here. I do appreciate you. Hopefully you got some value out of this one and learned your way around AudioShare. It is a ridiculously useful app. I use it every day. I'll be downloading this file now and probably clipping it out and using it on Instagram and Facebook and other things to create little clips of this video. So that's why it's super, super useful. Thanks everyone for being here. Please look after yourself. Take care of yourself. Take care of others and keep creating